What if Obi Wan was the one that defeated Dooku on the Invisible Hand instead of Anakin Skywalker? That's our story for today. Hope you guys enjoy. I really enjoyed writing this one, so yeah, hope you enjoy, and let's get right into it. Our story begins in the Spire of the Invisible Hand, flagship of the Separatist fleet attacking Coruscant. Dooku was communicating with Grievous through the ship's holocomms, as Grievous was expressing his concerns about the battle strategies. Grievous first said that the two Jedi, Skywalker and Kenobi, had infiltrated the ship and are making their way up to Dooku, and Dooku asked Grievous to drive them towards him, to which Grievous of course expressed more objections. Grievous was frustratedly saying that driving the Jedi to Dooku will drive them right to the Chancellor. He then questioned why Palpatine remained on this ship at all. He should be hidden. They should have been out of this battle long ago. But Dooku snapped at the droid general, saying that these are orders from Sidious himself. So Grievous reluctantly bowed and apologized, and then plugged Dooku's security systems into the ship's systems, so Dooku could observe the two Jedi making their way up the ship. And once Grievous ended the communication, Dooku turned to Palpatine, Chancellor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, the soon-to-be Sith Emperor of the Galaxy. Dooku admired Palpatine and his grand plans, but today he had other ideas. He asked Palpatine if they could give Kenobi one last chance. He said that support of a Jedi of Kenobi's integrity would be very valuable in establishing the new Empire. Sidious stared into the battle above Coruscant, thinking about how insignificant the thousands of clones and droids battling to their deaths out there truly were. It was all a play, set up by him. And he asked Dooku about his long-standing interest in Kenobi, wondering why he cares so much for him. And Dooku said that Kenobi's master, Qui-Gon Jinn, was his Padawan, so in a sense, Kenobi is practically his grandson. But Sidious quickly said that Kenobi is too old, far too indoctrinated in the Jedi ways, poisoned by the Jedi fables. Dooku sighed, remembering the time that he told Kenobi everything he needed to know on Geonosis. Part of Dooku wondered if he was even truly in the plans for Sidious going forward. If Kenobi was too old, he was far too old, and his master's obsession with Skywalker did not bring him much comfort. And speaking of Skywalker, Sidious said now that Kenobi must die today, and it will unlock the chains, keeping Skywalker in the light. The Dark Lord continued, saying that Skywalker is powerful, potentially more powerful than the both of them, if properly unlocked. And Dooku said then perhaps it is best they kill him instead. Eliminate the greatest threat to their power. Sidious sneered, asking Dooku if he thinks he could even kill Anakin. And Dooku felt a tinge of anger. Of course he could kill Skywalker. And suddenly, Dooku came to a realization. Perhaps today was as much a test for him as it was for Anakin. And so Dooku decided to prove himself. And now, he just had to go wait for the Jedi to arrive. As Anakin and Obi Wan did arrive, and walk up to Palpatine, without any security to stop them, they both knew this was likely a Jedi trap. And seconds later, they were confirmed correct, as Dooku entered from the back doors to greet them. And as Dooku flipped down, he observed his enemies in the Force. Skywalker, a storm cloud flickering with dangerous lightning that could erupt at any moment. And then Kenobi, a luminous being, a window onto a sunlit meadow in the Force, reminding him of Qui-Gon. And today Dooku made a choice. Skywalker was too risky. All three of them moved in at once, and the duel commenced. Dooku was able to get easily parrying the initial strikes of the two Jedi, sidestepping, backpedaling with grace as the two of them moved in, intent on ending this battle quickly. Anakin was impatient. He just wanted to get this duel over with, return to Coruscant to see his wife, with Dooku in custody. But Kenobi was patient, striking perfectly, backing up into a defensive style every time Dooku tried to move in on him. He was an elite duelist, but he lacked the ability to finish a duel. The three of them moved along the floor, and Dooku knocked Kenobi away before barely dodging a lethal strike from Anakin. Dooku flipped up the balcony, sending his droids at the Jedi now. That was way too close of a call. He regained his composure as Skywalker and Kenobi cut down the droids, then joined him up top. And now Kenobi moved in again, and Dooku struck at his head, then his leg, but Skywalker nearly cut Dooku's leg off now. So Dooku spun to block a heavy strike from Skywalker that buckled his elbows, then staggered to block a strike from Kenobi. The two Jedi struck again and again, and Dooku realized just how strong this duo has become, working as two to become one in this battle. And Dooku decided he was done messing around. He would have to kill both of these Jedi, and Sidious would just have to come up with a new, altered plan. with him in the center of all of it. Kenobi flipped over Dooku and swung at his back, but Dooku was quickly able to hit him with lightning and send Kenobi crashing into the wall as Skywalker moved in, and he was angry. Dooku knew that if Skywalker harnessed his anger, then the Jedi would be able to beat him. But there was enough time where his anger would make him unbalanced, and Dooku would have to take advantage of this moment in time. Anakin slammed heavy strikes down on Dooku, forcing him back in the ship to the window. And as Skywalker lifted his saber for a final strike, Dooku called upon the Force more than ever before to dive under the swing, then slash Anakin deep across the back. Anakin screamed, then fell flat onto the floor. Dooku took a breath, then stabbed down to kill him. But before he could, Obi Wan rejoined the fight, force pushing Dooku into the stairs. Obi Wan looked to Anakin. He wasn't moving. He couldn't even tell if he was breathing. But before he could check, Dooku elegantly moved in on Obi Wan, and the two dueled once more through the spire. Dooku guided Obi Wan underneath the balcony, then swung to lock sabers with Dooku. As Dooku was bearing down on Kenobi, he looked into his eyes and saw memories of Qui-Gon. So Dooku took a chance. He told Obi Wan it's not too late. Remember what he said on Geonosis. The Republic is corrupt all the way to the top, and together they can eradicate this corruption and start over. Build the Republic and the Jedi Order the way Qui-Gon always would have wanted. Kenobi dislodged the saber lock, and something began to click. Dooku waited here with Palpatine for so long. Why? Then he remembered Windu and the Council were investigating high-level politicians to be the Sith Lord, and Coruscant was attacked via a secret hyperspace route. And Dooku was now saying that once again what he said on Geonosis was the truth. The Sith controlled the Republic. So Obi-Wan said, "Palpatine," to Dooku, and Dooku reached out a hand, saying that he can take the place of Anakin in all of this, join them, help bring peace to the galaxy. But Obi-Wan was stronger than this, and he knew that Qui-Gon would have been stronger than this. He was not weak enough to choose the dark side. Dooku saw this, sighed, and he stabbed forward, but Obi-Wan was ready now, and he caught Dooku off guard, elbowing him in the nose, then spinning to cut off Dooku's hands. The red blade floated in the air, and perfectly landed in Obi-Wan's hands, as he now held them in a cross, across Dooku's neck. From the other side of the spire, Palpatine watched all of this with extreme curiosity. Dooku betrayed the plan by cutting down Anakin. Would Obi-Wan make him pay for it, he wondered? Palpatine knew that he could break free of these chains, kill Obi-Wan, save Dooku, but part of him wanted to see how this plays out. Dooku has run his course, perhaps. And as Obi-Wan stared down at Dooku, the Sith Lord had no words. He couldn't believe Obi-Wan beat him, and Dooku wondered what life would be like as a Republic prisoner. But as Obi-Wan looked down at Dooku, he knew what he had to do. Dooku just revealed that Palpatine is the Sith Lord. Obi-Wan had to keep this a secret from Palpatine, and everything flashed in Kenobi's eyes. Qui-Gon dying, him training Anakin, Palpatine manipulating Anakin, Satine dying, the horrifying sounds of screams in countless battles, Anakin being cut down, all because of the Sith. And Obi-Wan closed his eyes, doing what he had to do, doing what he must, and snipped the sabers before Dooku could speak. His head rolled away, and Obi-Wan fell to his knees. Who am I, he wondered, a murderer? But he had to do it. Dooku would have revealed to Palpatine that Obi-Wan knew the truth. Then all would have been lost. Now Obi-Wan knew the truth, and he did what he must to keep the truth hidden from Palpatine. So he slowly stood up, then ran to Anakin. Palpatine asked to be released, and Obi-Wan released him without looking to him, then knelt down next to Anakin. Could Palpatine kill him right here? Sure, but Obi-Wan knew that he wouldn't be able to take him in a straight fight anyways. He had to tell the Council, and they would act from there. But for now, Obi-Wan closed his eyes and gave himself to the Force, placing a hand on Anakin's deep wound across his back. There were Force healers in the Jedi Order, including Stas Ali and Rig Nema, that Obi-Wan had tried to learn this power from. Even Anakin had once used the power on Mortis, and another time on a clone in battle. Obi-Wan needed to use the power now. He was deep in it for a while, deep in meditation, trying to find the Force healing power, trying to bring Anakin back. He was not dead, but his breathing was labored, and this scar across his back would not be healing easily. The ship began to rock from heavy cannon fire, and Palpatine decided that they must leave him. They must go. But Obi-Wan said that he can go alone. He won't leave Anakin. Across the ship, Grievous was getting nothing from Dooku, and so he went on and checked the security cams. And he saw something truly unexpected. Dooku was dead, while Palpatine was freed. He growled with anger, then told the droids to get out of here, jump to hyperspace. He then gathered his elite Magna Guards and any other droids he could find, then moved towards Palpatine and the Jedi. In the Spire, Palpatine was losing patience. He could get out of here alone. He curled his fingers and pointed them at Obi Wan. Time for the Jedi to die. But right before the lightning left his fingertips, Anakin awoke with a heavy gasp, and Obi Wan hugged him. Anakin looked up to see a smiling Palpatine, then across the floor to see a dead Dooku. He missed a lot. They stood up together and said that it was time to go, but a moment later, the ship jumped to hyperspace. And as they began to lose hope, Grievous entered with 10 Magna Guards and at least 50 battle droids, telling the Jedi to surrender or die. Obi-Wan was extremely exhausted and weakened from healing Anakin, and Anakin was weakened from nearly dying. They could fight and die, but that seemed pointless, so instead, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine surrendered and were placed in handcuffs. Anakin asked Obi-Wan if he had a plan, and Kenobi said he's working on it. As of now, only Kenobi knew that Palpatine was Sidious. Palpatine didn't know that Obi-Wan knew, and Anakin didn't know that Obi-Wan knew about Palpatine. Down inside of the hangar of the Invisible Hand, R2-D2 was hiding behind some of the destroyed battle droids when the hangar was suddenly abandoned and he was left alone. So R2 moved into Anakin's ship and hacked into the comms. He was able to send a message to the Jedi Temple, saying that Grievous jumped to hyperspace with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine aboard. Anakin's ship luckily had a tracking device activated, and so the Republic would be able to track them down, bring a final fleet to wherever they were going. Grievous and his droids would take the 3 prisoners to the bridge, and upon coming out of hyperspace above Utapau, Grievous would have ray shield prisons brought aboard this ship. The droids would place Obi-Wan suspended in one, but before he could continue doing this with Anakin or Palpatine, Palpatine decided to make a choice. He blasted Anakin with lightning, sending him crumpling to the floor, then ignited a red blade and told Grievous to kneel to his master, Lord Sidious. Magna Guards picked up a weakened Anakin and put him in a ray shield prison as Grievous tilted his head, coughed a few times, then knelt down in front of Darth Sidious, his true master. It all made so much sense, and Sidious told Grievous that Dooku was a necessary loss. He was being tested, and he failed, and now Grievous better hope the same does not happen to him. Grievous said he will do whatever is required of him, and so Sidious requested that Anakin be released and heavily drugged. He, too, will be tested. Anakin was watching all of this unfold in disbelief. His mentor, one of his greatest friends, lived his entire life as a lie. Anakin was extremely angry, but a moment later a needle was jammed into his neck, and the drugs pumped into Anakin's body made him super weak with the Force seemingly draining from him. These drugs were kept by Sith through the years. It was a green liquid that came from the planet Koshlera. These drugs essentially could negate the Force powers of a Jedi, but be extremely lethal. But there was one way for a Jedi to overcome the drug, by embracing the dark side. Anakin could rid himself of this toxin, but he would fall into place in Palpatine's plans, becoming a new Sith apprentice. Anakin was placed on the floor, and he watched as Obi-Wan was repeatedly electrocuted by Grievous's Magna Guard staffs, over and over again. Sidious told Anakin that he can stop this torture immediately. He can kill everyone in this room. All he has to do is embrace his destiny, join the dark side, feel the power of the Sith inside of him, and he will be able to break free of the drugs, free Obi-Wan, strike down the Sith. Through electrocutions, Obi-Wan told Anakin not to listen to Sidious through heavy, labored breaths, telling Anakin that he is a Jedi. Sidious turned now, pouring his own lightning into Obi-Wan, and as Anakin listened to Obi-Wan's screams, his ability to resist the temptations of the dark side were fading quickly, despite Obi-Wan's warnings not to do it. Across the galaxy on Coruscant, the Jedi Temple received the message from R2-D2, and they were putting together a fleet to jump to Utapau. They had the location of Grievous, Dooku, Palpatine, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, and they would catch the Separatists off guard, hopefully ending this war today. Mace Windu and Master Yoda would be leading this fleet, and they were met in the temple by Padme Amidala. She said that since the Chancellor was a hostage, she would need to accompany the fleet in order to provide a Republic negotiator to hopefully get him back. Yoda and Windu accepted this, and they made final preparations, then jumped to hyperspace for Utapau to bring down the Separatists once and for all. Back aboard the Invisible Hand, Anakin was still fighting off the dark side, as Obi-Wan was electrocuted again and again. They both knew that Obi-Wan still only had a few hits left before possibly dying, and the drugs in Anakin's system were going to kill him soon. But he was afraid of the darkness, afraid of giving it power, because he knew it would consume him forever if he wasn't careful. But as Obi-Wan was being electrocuted, a Republic fleet suddenly emerged from hyperspace in front of the Separatists, and a battle quickly ensued. Sidious told Grievous to hold them off, but he received a message from the main ship of the Republic fleet. Grievous told Sidious that it was Senator Amidala, and with an evil smile, Sidious told Grievous to focus all firepower on the ship with Padme in it. Eliminate her. And that was what was needed to unlock Anakin. As Grievous was about to give the order to focus on Padme's ship, Anakin called upon the darkness inside of him, and he felt immense power. The drugs immediately faded, and Anakin used a massive force push, sending Grievous into the wall. His mask cracked on it, and Anakin leapt into the air, calling his own saber back from Grievous, and he stabbed the droid general through the heart. Anakin turned back to Sidious, who was now cackling, saying that this was good, and Anakin said that he was going to strike him down. Sidious told him to embrace this power, this anger, and only then will he truly have the power to defeat him. Sidious right now planned to defeat Anakin, show him that in order to fully unlock these powers, he must become his apprentice, and then the two of them would rule together. So Anakin cut down the Magna Guards torturing Obi-Wan, then leapt at Sidious, clashing blades with the Dark Lord. Anakin's strikes were immediately fueled by rage and desperation. His movements were swift and angry, while Sidious, the embodiment of the Sith, was weaving his crimson blade to meet each of Anakin's strikes. As they moved through the bridge, Anakin's attacks grew more ferocious, his newfound power unyielding as he tapped into the depths of his anger. With each strike, he pushed himself further, using more and more of this unlocked darkness. Inside of the lead Republic Venator in the space battle, Yoda suddenly grabbed at his head. Padme asked if he was alright, and Yoda said that Anakin was in danger. He feels darkness radiating from young Skywalker. This battle must be won quickly. Anakin is in pain. Great pain. But Padme heard this, and she snuck off, running down to the hangar and getting into a ship, taking off into the heat of battle. In the Venator, a clone gunner alerted Windu and Yoda suddenly to a new ship in the battle, and Yoda realized who it was. He ordered clones to protect this ship at all costs, and wished Padme for the Force to be with her, as she went to the Invisible Hand. Back in the Invisible Hand, Sidious staggered under the constant onslaught from Anakin, his robes smoldering as Anakin cut into them, barely missing Sidious. He struggled to maintain his composure, but Anakin pressed on relentlessly, and Sidious realized now that perhaps this was his destiny, to be the one that unlocks the most powerful Sith of all time, and to die at his hand. Anakin will rule the galaxy. He will take down the Jedi. His fury was unrelenting as he closed in for the final strike, and with a truly powerful motion, he brought his lightsaber crashing down upon Sidious, the blade of Sidious piercing through the darkness and being cut into two. Anakin spun around now and stabbed through Sidious's heart, and the Sith Lord told Anakin that he has done well, and now he must continue to fulfill his destiny as the heir to the power of the Sith. As the echoes of their battle faded into silence, Anakin stood completely still. Obi-Wan asked if he was alright, and Anakin felt more than alright. He felt powerful. No, unstoppable like never before. He could do anything he wanted. He would end this war. He could bring peace to the galaxy. He could ensure that war never rises again. This power gave him whatever he wanted. He looked to a reflection in the wall to see his eyes suddenly turn from blue to yellow. Dark voices of the past whispered to him, telling him to do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy. Anakin gripped his lightsaber, but a sudden voice from the door made him stop in his tracks. It was Padme, and she simply said his name before running up to him and hugging him. Anakin felt his emotions now swirling, the anger battling the compassion. But Padme looked into his eyes as they were blue once more, and she told Anakin that she was pregnant. This filled Anakin with so much joy, peace, and happiness. The darkness faded away with a desperate shriek, and he was still Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan came up to them and recommended they get out of here, and Anakin smiled, saying that he has an idea, then telling them to fly the ship up to the bridge window. Obi-Wan sighed, then accepted this. As Padme and Obi-Wan left and got into a ship, Anakin took control of the Invisible Hand, putting all power into the engines and sending it towards the line of Separatist ships lined up together. Obi Wan reached the window and latched on, allowing Anakin to escape and fly away with Padme and Obi Wan, as the Separatist flagship crashed into the line of ships, creating a chain reaction and a row of beautiful explosions as the droid army crashed and burned. Yoda and Windu recalled their forces after they aided in the Separatist destruction, and once Padme, Anakin, and Obi Wan were aboard, the Republic departed back for Coruscant. The war would come to an official end when the Separatist leaders were arrested amidst the chaos of losing all of their leaders at once, and the Republic was informed that Palpatine was killed aboard the Invisible Hand, though some key details were left out, so as to keep the Republic from realizing that the entire war was a corrupt trick from the beginning. But with the war over, the people would rally around new Chancellor Bail Organa, as he vowed to rebuild this broken system. Anakin and Obi-Wan would see their relationship grow to a new level, as they were brothers more than ever. Obi-Wan would be there for Anakin when Padme gave a safe birth, and they would travel to Naboo, as Obi-Wan would help Anakin to raise a child that he was maybe not so ready for to raise alone, something that Obi-Wan was not too unfamiliar with, thanks to Qui-Gon gifting him Anakin so long ago. And folks, that is our story for today. This is an idea I had a while ago, and the thumbnail, I hope you guys love the thumbnail. I had it made by Tillian Creative on Instagram. Go check him out, Tillian_creative on Instagram. Huge fan of his work. He does stuff for Pente Patrol and Fantasy Folklore, so I hit him up and he got to working on this one, and it's truly magnificent. I like it a lot. Hope you guys like it as well, and it was, just really helped this story be more inspired. I enjoyed it a lot. It was kind of more small scale, right? It was just really focused on a handful of characters, whereas sometimes I'll do a story and it'll take 10 years, focus on the entire galaxy. I really wanted to change it up and just focus on maybe, a few hours in time, maybe not even, really get into the battle with Dooku, then end up with the battle of Palpatine. I don't know, I just like the idea of just having to be a few hours with things constantly, they could change at any second. I really like this story, one of my favorites maybe, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Would Obi-Wan kill Dooku in that spot? That was something I went back and forth on a lot, but I think he would, knowing that if he didn't, so many more could die. Grievous' death was quick, I know, and then having Anakin just be fully unlocked to kill Sidious, I thought that was fun, so hope you guys enjoyed, and then having him not go into the darkness because of Padme. So thanks for watching, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next video.